Re les gars.
Moving on over.
Yeah, after that knock right there, look at how quickly they're trying to come in for the refresh here potentially. And if your visuals diminish and braids, you got to put up a front right now. You got to put up a defensive hold here. Not only for the damage, but because you got Peterbot's trio inching up on your positioning right now for this prime real estate here. Oh, look, Braids takes off. They're going towards the mountain.
It's a bit of a risky play. You see there's just chunks, big chunks of HP missing. They don't have any resources to kind of make that up, and they're just pushing straight in. This might be a blessing though. Joshi's already down. Aoxy's there. They get the elimination onto one. Even if it's not the points, they're still able to get the loot that they need. Damage for Storm Surge, 51 above, feeling a little bit more comfortable. And that's an understatement because a Menace just goes in and bulldozes that trio back to the lobby.
I'm trying to figure out, like, how did they know? Like, they catch a Minish with extremely, again, low HP out in the open, but he keys up the mountain and found an even weaker team. They must have been taking a small fight there just before that, before Peterbot kind of put his 2 cents into the mix here. But either way, phenomenal play to keep them in the game right there. Meanwhile, complete other side of the zone here. Click 6 in the also got to be happy that they're rotating kind of the dead side northern area here because they're on the opposite side of Peterbot, right? Just staying away from the juggernauts that toppled them over, right? Kind of threw off their entire mid game yesterday in game number 6.
You see, they were the only team though to get 2 victory royales yesterday, and honestly I like this positioning on the zone. If it pulls anywhere but south, they are in one of the best spots in the zone so far, getting ready for these next moving zones. But if it does pull south, not just them but everybody else on this side of the zone is going to have some trouble trying to make it up over that mountain on the other side. You see so many teams already positioned with that elevation, looking down at the side, not just the Yamzo, but he does land a shot on Creon, who seems like he might be by himself. I don't see his teammates anywhere. That might be one of the few solos left in this lobby.
I wouldn't put it past the Yamzo's team to get this refresh right here, given how weak that team below them is. Dabco, Muzz, and Rise. You talk about the double VRs yesterday. You have to put this team in the conversation. They were the squad fighting for first and second in those back-to-back games. Just incredible performance, particularly from Jabco. But hold up. Back to Minish, Braids, and Visuals. That elimination, not enough, but it buys them a little bit of time. Now, they have to fight for damage here. Only 2 minis here. We knew that they didn't have much to work with before. Visuals kind of caught out of position there. Unfortunately, taking way too much damage here. The water sprite picked up, and then the elimination on the tail end. They are really fighting for their placement right now on the standings, but no, the lobby starts to focus in. Even with the big 5 eliminations, they can't catch a break.
Yeah, slow to rotate. Max pull all the way towards the western side of this mountain. Everything's stacked against them now because they don't have any material either. At least the Minish does not. No extra shields. And there's a team waiting right next to him, and you really just at their mercy. It doesn't even know about the full trio right behind him. So as soon as he gets this rotation, if he doesn't watch out, that could be his demise. But he's trying to land some shots because he knows Monster, even though Storm Surge did deactivate, he knows once it turns on yet again, they are going to be below that threshold. They are going to be a duo, and they're going to have to figure it out quick.
Oh, I was just about to say, no way. Braze sets up the target fire with Acorn Shiro from up top. Nearly had a full elimination set up for him, but opts to go ahead and heal a little bit more passively instead here. Very limited material. Notice that Braids had to split his mats with Visuals here. Sorry, with the Menace, just to keep them in the game right now. And they are definitely holding on, but look, we're already at a 13 trios remaining in the lobby. Just ahead of Braids here. Yeah, Peterbot's trio on high ground. Acorn, Boyo, and Agers trying to make a comeback. Kanata showing life in this last game as well here to kind of kick things off. Meanwhile, clicks the Zone Higgs on a low ground rotate. 7 Elans already for the trio. Make it 8 as they catch Yusuf on the rotate here.
It's a big pickup for them because they even just now found that medallion. Something that we do see Yamza, Clicks, and Higgs go for time to time again, but now they get another far pull with the rest of the lobby, and there's nobody down there but that one team in front of them. Everybody else stacked at the side of the mountain, even the south part of the zone overall. And Cold Ritual, Peterbot using that to their advantage with everybody trying to rotate too early, forced to box up because of damage. They're using that as an opportunity to smoothly move through the zone as Peterbot lands a good shot onto a full trio up above, and now they're the ones getting focused. And Peterbot sets that up for G-Monster to jump in and actually take down Javco. So that's going to be a difference maker for Buzz's trio, but Buzz fighting back up top, and then Peterbot's team turns around, catches a whiff of the chaos, and finishes up the job here. Look at the upgrades coming through for the loadout now, but still very little heals here on Peterbot's team. Cole taking out Ritual, taken out by a finishes trio from down low, and Agers from up top. They sandwich down the fire here and clean them up, but it's all up to Peterbot. Peterbot claps back on 10 minutes, shot from behind. Back to the lobby now by Shadow's team, and a glimmer of hope breaks open in the sky here. The sun is shining through for Higgs, Clicks, and Yamzo, who now have a chance to earn more placement points and close the gap. Yeah, there's at least 30 plus points left into the top 8 if they can secure that victory royale. They have 8 eliminations as well. This is a recipe for success, especially since they're now taking the front side of the zone. There is nobody down there even next to them as it leads towards the house, but up above, Agers, Poyo, Acorn feeling just as safe, if not safer, up in the clouds. There's only one team close to them, and they're immediately going to drop down low to a different layer. So impressive. We're watching two sides of a coin here. Clicks, Yamzo, Higgs opting to play ultimate low this entire end game, and then you see the opposite teams trying to stay to the mid, stay to the high ground, trusting that the zone was going to bounce back up. However, it doesn't matter. All they've done is allow them to put the pressure on. Raids is holding on to top 5 for him. Well done, son, but look at what's happening here. Finally now, pressure starting to come in. This is going to be the first to fall. Try to go for the save. It's the trio on the other side of the wall. Kanata's there as well, and they are starting to cook it up. Yeah, that's because of the game plan. They got so much space in the front side of zone. They just immediately grabbed the body, tossed it to the front, got the revive. Now they have a chance to look behind. This is something I feel like Kelly and Vivid talked about, that they did not do enough on day one, looking to the backside of the zone, trying to get those eliminations. They already reached double digits in this game and a final 4 spot, but everybody alive is going to be full trio. Some might be stronger than other, and that's why they're trying to battle from the low ground. Yamzo quick to take a big shot with the shields. He has to figure out a way to stagger back, get the HP up. The medallion proven to be useful in this situation, but only for so long. Yamzo goes down. Clicks tries to make a miracle play, but the full trio goes out. They tried to kneecap him out to the lobby, but it wasn't good enough. Not enough charge in the swing here. Meanwhile, Agers, Foyo, Acorn starting to bring the pressure from the high ground down. Just 4 eliminations, but this top 3 positioning here is what matters most. But will the veteran trio close this one out is the real question. Shadow's team starting to turn online here. Curve, Tyler staying at the front side of zone here. Foyo halfway through the maps here. There's that one wild card factor. Finally, they find him. It's Sphinx in the mix here now. Jacob looking at a clean 3v3. Yep, and already Agers going to drop down onto one side with damage on the curve. Poyo's going to clean that one up. Even with Agers going down, Poyo has his back. And the Major 1 champion starting in 7th place. They cook up a victory royale and rise to the top. It's crazy because yesterday we called it Acorn. Typically that day 2 Acorn comes out and he doesn't look back. And hey man, starting things off with a game 7 victory royale's gotta feel nice for them to put them right back in the conversation. But let's watch it back from their side here. We got the best of Agers and Foyo coming out here, really kicking things off, and the way Agers was able to kind of initiate the fight and allow Foyo to just get active from the sidelines was so perfect. And you got to give respect to the Young Bucks, Shadow and Curve and Tyler there coming through. So congrats, game 7's wraps there. Z, what do you have for us now?
You see what I'm saying? You see what I said at the start of the show? If Foyo came out and just won a game, we could be looking at a top 5 situation to qualify to globals. And Poyo said, you know what?
On va aller voir ce classement. Je pense pas que Lex il a dépassé Peterbot 40 points quand même. Cumulé. Ouais, Peterbot. Ah, 6 points. Qui sont derrière à 6 points. Reds qui sont montés avec leur top 2. Ils ont 423 points. Avec un peu grâce au top 1, ils montent 4ème, 399. Il y a au moins 100 points avec top 1. Ouais, il faudrait qu'il refasse un top 1 s'il veut dépasser les Peterbot. Top 5, Reed, Cooper, Curly, bon trio. Bouka top 6, Meuf top 7. Canada top 9. Après, il y a qui comme J-Money top 15. Il y a aussi top 25, c'est compliqué. Et voilà. 4 points, c'est compliqué, hein. 4 points en 7 games. Demain, si tu peux repasser à regarder son joueur.
Solaride. Abdel, t'as déjà vu un Abdel? J'ai déjà vu un Abdel Solari.
J'ai jamais vu.
Ah, ça peut être le premier en vrai, peut-être, on sait pas. Hein.
T'entends quoi par là, Buzz?
Ouais, il dit que. Voilà.
C'est
Oh, mais
Revenja,
non,
c'est
il y a
Revenja qui recrute.
il y a le cup, un content créateur avec un pro, ça pourrait être d'or.
C'est vrai,
Ça
en
va
vrai,
être
c'est
bien,
Revenja,
regardez.
c'est toi qui recrute.
Moi, je donne pas mal de noms, on sélectionne et après voilà quoi.
Et par contre, moi, tu commences pas à me faire une intro de merde, hein.
Oh, bah, on savait
tu veux
pourquoi
une
que ça
petite
commençait
annonce
à flop, Solari.
Ouais, tu me fais une réannonce, moi, par contre.
En vrai, pour toi, Revenja, en tant que hit of Fortnite, Solari flop ou pas en ce moment?
Bah. Non. Pour moi, elle a fait top 13.
Ouais, pour moi, c'est propre, hein.
Ouais, y'a que Coram.
En tout cas, pour ceux qui ont cours de bon courage, les gars.
Rigole pas, t'es dans la structure.
Ah, je sais, bah, c'est pour ça que je me permets, frérot.
T'es passé de 5000 balles par mois à 800 balles.
Ah, ça fait mal au cul, hein, le bonne fois. Allez, ça fait mal au cul.
Ça, nickel.
C'est abusé, les gars.
Si tu recrutes Abdel, tu pourras faire une annonce tagine couscous. Wow, arrêtez les mecs.
Après, ça, c'est ta classique, hein, Revenja.
Ah non.
Non, par contre, c'est obligé de montrer sa tête quand tu rejoins Solari?
Ça dépend.
Revenja.
Ça dépend de quoi, en vrai?
Enfin, je sais pas, tu vois, Rax il a 14 ans, du coup on va pas trop l'obliger à montrer sa tête. Enfin, il vient d'avoir 14 ans.
Revenja, moi j'ai une question pour toi.
Ouais.
Ouais.
En tant que head of Fortnite de ça.
Ça prend combien de temps? 1 minute, après faut pas répondre 3 minutes, au moins 4 minutes, ouais. Pas une petite vidéo à se regarder pour l'instant. On teste les bas youtubeurs. C'est quoi?
Yo la commu, mes frérots, j'espère que vous allez bien. Aujourd'hui, on se retrouve pour une toute nouvelle vidéo en compagnie de la meuf du fond, bien évidemment.
Bien évidemment, quand on mange, c'est moi qu'on invite.
Bah ouais, logique les gars, j'étais obligé. Aujourd'hui, on se retrouve pour le 3e épisode de On teste les marques des youtubeurs. Les gars, pour aujourd'hui, on a ramené du lourd. Et je pense qu'à mon avis, ce sera le dernier épisode parce que on a vraiment testé toutes les marques
là,
actuellement.
on a fait un peu le tour. Hein.
Ah, on a fait vraiment le tour. Pour aujourd'hui, les gars, qu'on va vous présenter, c'est simple.
Vous allez voir les gars de la musique d'ailleurs.
Ivic, elle a fait beaucoup parler ces derniers temps. Enfin,
Ouais, bref,
qu'elle
faut
est-
regarder.
Ça fait un moment qu'elle est sortie, mais
Mais
vu qu'on est des
voilà.
golemons, on l'a jamais goûté.
Moi non plus, j'ai jamais goûté. Il y a plusieurs goûts. J'ai décidé de prendre aussi fromage. Je pense qu'elle va être bonne à tester. C'est une pizza surgelée pour ceux qui connaissent pas. En suivant, les amis, nous avons la fameuse Prime. Bien évidemment, elle est là dans chaque vidéo.
Épisode.
Et dans chaque épisode, elle nous déçoit tout le temps. Apparemment, j'ai eu des échos comme quoi celle-ci, c'est vraiment le Prime. C'est le cas de le dire, genre vraiment elle est bonne. Donc on va tester ça, on va
Genre en
voir.
mode elle est bonne ou en mode elle est. Ça va, elle est meilleure que les autres.
Elle est buvable en entier.
Ok.
C'est-à-dire, tu vois, elle est bonne.
Ok.
Bon, comme vous le savez, les Primes, à chaque fois, on les mettait vraiment, je
Dans
pense, dans la
inutile.
rubrique inutile.
Je crois la verte, elle était passée dans Passable.
On l'avait mis dans Passable, il y avait une Prime qui était passée dans Passable. Est-ce que celle-là va passer dans Bon? Vous verrez dans la suite de la vidéo. Pour continuer les gars, nous avons les magnifiques Feastable les gars. Je pense que vous connaissez tous, c'est les barres de chocolat de MrBeast. Voilà. Donc écoutez, on va tester ça, je pense qu'elles ont l'air bonnes. En vrai, moi je pense que ça va me faire kiffer aux amandes. Je sais pas ce que vous en
Ouais,
pensez.
aux amandes, en vrai. Moi, je kiffe trop le chocolat aux amandes.
Bah moi j'adore le chocolat tout court, j'adore manger, donc je pense qu'on va kiffer ça aussi. Pour continuer, nous avons l'excellence Black and White de Ibra TV. Bah alors ça, bon, je pense que vous connaissez tous aussi.
C'est un des premiers hein, qui a ouvert son restaurant,
je crois. Ça fait au moins 10, presque 10 ans. Hein.
Non mais peut-être genre 2018
ou un truc comme ça. Bah, ça date hein.
Moi,
et depuis, je n'ai jamais goûté Black and White. D'ailleurs, en plus, le burger me hype de fou. Hein. Que je me rappelle à l'époque, burger pain noir, tout ça se faisait pas de fou. Et pour terminer la vidéo, les gars, on retourne avec le classico qu'on avait surkiffé dans l'épisode 1. Les gars, on a pris un burgooz parce qu'ils ont sorti un nouveau menu spécial winter. Bon, on est à la limite de winter là actuellement, on va bientôt passer
bientôt au printemps,
sur du printemps, mais je trouvais intéressant de le tester parce qu'il est vraiment beau. Il est trop stylé et j'espère que le goût sera en accompagnement avec son flow. En tout cas, j'espère Valos va pas nous décevoir. La dernière fois, il était grotesque.
Ouais, il était grotesque.
On l'avait mis dans le goat. C'était le meilleur des meilleurs.
D'ailleurs, je crois que dans tous les épisodes, il n'y en a aucun qui a dépassé le burger de burgooz.
Non, franchement, je pense que ça a été top 1 des top 1. Les frérots, avant qu'on commence, je vous invite, hein, si vous avez des idées de créateurs de contenu qui ont sorti de la nourriture ou quoi, n'hésitez pas à nous proposer en commentaire.
On n'a pas testé
dans un futur épisode.
Parce que pour l'instant, le seul qu'on a en tête, c'est le burger de Nino.
Ouais, voilà, c'est tout. Et après, les variantes des plats qu'on a pris, qu'on n'a pas testé. Mais voilà, moi j'ai une idée personnellement, je sais pas si ça vous hype, mais est-ce que pour un 4e opus, vous voulez qu'on teste tout simplement les marques des youtubeurs version States? Vous nous dites en commentaire si ça vous chauffe ou quoi. C'est une idée que j'ai eue. Là, on a fait la France, pourquoi pas tester les autres pays? Après, on part influenceurs asiatiques, influenceurs africains, influenceurs... Bon bref, tous les influenceurs du monde entier. Sur ce les gars, voilà, je vous invite si vous kiffez.
Parce que ça a repris. Non, attends 2 minutes 40 encore, attends.
Le concept à mettre un énorme pouce bleu, vous connaissez, vous likez, vous vous abonnez aussi, vous activez la cloche de notification. Il y a beaucoup trop de personnes qui l'ont pas activé et il y a beaucoup trop de personnes qui regardent les vidéos sans être abonnés.
Mais trop de temps de...
Les dimanches 11h30, nouvelle vidéo. Moi je te propose qu'on commence par la pizza de la mama. Je sais pas là, le petit vide, tout ça, il me tape dans les... Ouais, la boîte est cool là, on en parle pas assez, mais moi j'aime bien le packaging.
Il est archi beau gosse.
Ouais, il est beau gosse, petite moustache, petit sourire, al dente, Mister
bien droite,
V.
bien blanche.
Voilà, exactement, je te fais l'amour, Mister V. On déguste?
Allez, on déguste.
On met tout ça au four pendant 12 à 15 minutes à 200 degrés et puis ça va partir. Les frères, on commence avec la première marque de youtubeur. C'est parti. Cette pizza a été fabriquée en Allemagne. Les fromages sont d'origine Union européenne. Intéressant. Tatouage. Pourquoi il y a marqué tatouage sur sa main?
Mais parce que tu connais pas les tatouages de Mr V?
J'ai pas la rêve, j'avoue.
Bah en fait, Mr V, il a que des tatouages.
Ah, il a marqué tatouage?
Oui, genre ses tatouages, il y a marqué
rêve.
tatouage partout.
Bon les gars, la voici. La pizza au 6 fromages de Mr V. C'est la 6 fromaggio. Argente. La musica.
Tu peux dire mi piace la pizza.
Mi piace la pizza. J'ai envie de manger la pizza.
Non, j'aime la pizza.
J'aime la pizza. Mi piace tout. Les gars, on commence du coup avec la 6 fromaggio de Mr V Argente. La musica. Vous pouvez pas dire que je suis un raciste parce que je suis italien. Donc vous commencez pas, là je dois tous vous énerver dans les commentaires.
Faut remonter combien de générations pour avoir les origines?
Bah mon daron.
Ton daron il est full italien?
Mon grand-père est full italien.
Voilà.
Du coup,
donc faut remonter au grand-père.
Ouais, bah c'est vrai, c'est la même chose. 45 milliards de cousins en Italie, donc il n'y a aucun droit de racisme. J'ai la carte italienne passe. Tous les trucs comme ça, j'ai le droit de les faire. Toi, par contre, t'as pas le droit. Allez, c'est parti. Je coupe ou tu coupes?
Je parle mieux italien.
Ouais, c'est vrai. Tu coupes ou je coupe?
Vas-y, coupe.
Vas-y, je coupe. Je fais combien de parts? Putain, le couteau de boucher qu'on m'a passé.
8, c'est plus simple.
T'as pas un ciseau? C'est mieux de couper au ciseau. Tu sais que moi, je coupe toutes mes pizzas au ciseau. On est d'accord? C'est une masterclass.
Oui. Qui coupe encore ses pizzas
faut être con,
au couteau?
les gars.
Et non, le pire, couper les doigts, c'est couteau, la roulette. Parce que les roulettes, des fois, tu les achètes en supermarché, elles sont nulles.
J'avoue, je trouve jamais à la roulette.
Du coup, la valeur sûre, c'est le ciseau.
Ouais,
ça coupe
c'est que ciseau, c'est vraiment une masterclass. Les gars, je sais pas si vous coupez. Bah, je galère là avec le couteau, ça me tire les couilles. Bon, en tout cas, de ce que je touche, c'est une pizza surgelée, ça se voit quand même. Tu vois, c'est pas non plus pizza de restaurant, t'as capté. Mais maintenant, voyons, testons le goût. Santé, serre-toi. 6 fromages. Ça se voit, il y a du roquefort, il y a.
Santé. Allez.
Oh, t'as directement. Bah, d'accord, bah, allez, on y va. Ouais, moi aussi, j'ai faim.
T'en as partout.
J'ai senti autour de ma bouche. C'était tout chaud ici.
Bah, c'est une pizza.
Ouais, c'est une pizza. En vrai,
la pâte est bonne.
J'allais dire la même chose, ouais. La pâte est bonne. Le fromage est bon aussi. Tu sens bien plusieurs saveurs de fromage. Pas trop puissant non plus, mais ça va. Comme je l'ai dit tout à l'heure, c'est une pizza surgelée, tu vois. Ça se ressent, mais elle est bonne. Mais
bah, c'est une pizza surgelée.
Ouais, voilà. C'est une bonne pizza surgelée.
Elles sont meilleures que les Carrefour que t'achètes à 60 centimes.
Genre, tu vas pas te dire waouh en mangeant la pizza de.
Ouais, mais en vrai, ça se tape, tu vois. Genre, un week-end, t'as la flemme de faire à manger.
Ouais, mais j'ai encore faim après ça. Moi, il me faut 2 pizzas pizza, je pense. Hein.
Non, mais toi aussi, t'es un glouton.
Ah, c'est vrai. Genre là, la pizza toute seule, je pense que j'ai faim après. Non, en vrai, je pense que je vais mettre genre un 6,5, 7, je pense.
Ah, j'allais dire 6,5.
Ouais, j'hésite entre les deux. 7, ça me fait beaucoup, je trouve. 6,5 sur 10, elle est bonne, mais voilà, c'est une pizza, quoi, classique.
Ouais, c'est une pizza.
6,5 sur 10, et je le mets pas dans passable, je le mets dans bon.
Non, c'est bon.
C'est bon. Donc je le mets, ouais, dans la catégorie bon.
J'y étais pas arrivé, mais le bord de la croûte est bien. Parce que souvent, sur les pizzas surgelées, le bord de la croûte est immangeable. Genre tellement il est dur. Là, c'est parfait.
Je mange tout le temps toute la pizza. Dans les commentaires, dites-moi si vous êtes team, vous mangez toute la pizza ou vous laissez la croûte.
En vrai, moi aussi, je mange toute la pizza, mais il y a des pizzas, genre la croûte, elle est atroce à grailler.
Moi, tu sais que j'en connais plein qui laissent la croûte. Typiquement, ma petite sœur, quand elle mange, elle laisse la croûte dans son assiette. Mais moi, comme j'ai
Bon, ça a repris. Ouais, Fortnite, lui. Bah, du blabla, plus du blabla. Ah, enfin. Il est nul, c'est parti.
The Major 2 Finals Game 8 is about to commence, and Jacob, I gotta say, it is starting to cook up to be an iconic Major Finals right now. And once again, we get to watch the dynamic play out. That last game, we gotta give a hats off to the servers. We got a completely different end game, right? This is what we're hoping to see, some new dynamic coming into play. And it looks like, you know, for our Lone Wolf Layer team,
c'est ça comment on a eu le contest ça. À tous les contests sur Veno, Fixi, qui a des contests.
Seem to work in their favor. Yeah, that rotating towards the north side, they were able to pick up more and more surge on the teams trying to rotate deep into the zone. But again, more switch-ups going down. Game 2, it does look like G-Money, Osid, and Bryce are going to be uncontested inside of the mountain. But you see in the mini-map, there's a full trio at the top of the mountain, so they're going to be splitting as much of this loot as possible. And this is something that we saw go down throughout the course of the day yesterday, and they're just trying to make sure that they don't risk their entire game on that off-spawn fight.
Off-spawn, always the tricky one, especially when you're going 50-50. We saw a little bit of that yesterday from the kind of opting to split it up. One thing was for certain, though, when G-Monster's team got away successfully in the early game without any contestation, they seem to have had really good games.
C'est le fait qu'il va être engagé, un kick qui a été récupéré déjà. Nice. 2v2. Wow, le perf à l'air. Wesh. Wesh, qu'il a mis. Wow. Wesh, il les a découpés, King.
You end up finishing off the full trio. Yeah, this is about this team. Silic making the plays in game number 1 to kind of lead them to the rest of the game off spawn, and then now it's King's turn. I talked about the aggression, we both did. We saw it through group stages. It's finally great to see it here in back-to-back games for them. Over towards the bridge, though, a fight that we were watching yesterday, another 50-50 for that floor. I think both teams kind of switching it up just a little bit. Once again, where you're at on the leaderboard means so much. Not just the first place FNCS championship, not just the global spots, but there's still a great amount of money to be won. Yeah, and your history, right? Especially for these teams that are now starting to consistently make their way to finals. This is their legacy beginning to get developed here in real time. You know, and you got to give credits to Eulogy, Phenom, and Yusuf. I know last game was a little bit of a rough one for them, just given the circumstances, but they turned things into an 11th place game for them, really popping off. And not only that, that jumps them up to 16th place overall on the standings. So a top 10 could be in the conversation here, but they got to make it past the drop first. And Donnie, Craze, and Joji seems to have kind of taking control of the Shining Span this time around. Yeah, they even got that elimination on Eulogy before he was able to get over that mountain. So they just got to figure out how to get that reboot card. As we turn on over Crime City, business as usual. Unfortunate going down in 9th place, which left a good amount of placement points still on the board, and obviously eliminations. So Siamzo was able to close the gap to 6. But landing over towards the server room, getting the train, Peterbot immediately building up and looking over towards Foxy Floodgates. That's where you have Visual Braids and a Minish. It's just a little bit of early game surge. Peterbot just takes most of that damage, forcing her to take a break here, breathe, reassess the situation. Up on a full chug jug here, I don't blame him. Some prestigious heals getting utilized here. Visuals, you can see looking to potentially play a cheeky little side angle right there. Volt secured. Now time to head out, start looking for that damage. Higgs, no upgraded rifle. We'll see if he can kind of fish for something new here shortly. Clicks, Higgs, and Niamzo have pulled off 7 pickups, most of any team so far in the game. Those revives being absolutely clutch. Most of which obviously was accumulated yesterday, we saw in those final games, but still, even now, Blitz got saved in the last round as well. So
Ici, son
crucial
Storm.
for their strategy is keeping the entire team up.
Yeah, it's just in part the way they kind of play the low
L'équipe
ground,
a
getting
décidé
the front side of the
à jouer
zone.
d'assaut en
At
face.
times, even taking Storm damage just to get
Pas
deep
simple
into the
sur les
zone with
pauvres,
their
mais
builds
pas
before they
simple.
backtrack. They found a lot of success in that game. If they can keep this momentum going, we can have this race all day long. But a new horse has entered the mix. Acorn, Pollo, Agers. They won that last game. They climbed up the leaderboard. They got a tying spot on the leaderboard, and they're winning the tiebreaker due to that victory royale in that last game over Reed, Cooper, and Curly. And they're sticking to the strategies. They got access to Mass Meadows uncontested, the vault with an abundance of loot, and they immediately go on over towards that black market where Acorn's the one that kind of relays a lot of those extra heals on over.
It was really nice as they're keeping up the pacing, the momentum that they kind of left themselves off with games 5 and 6 yesterday. Really setting them up big time to be in the conversation, and then to, of course, initiate the tournament day 2 with a win. It's going to be the perfect storm here for them right now. And you can arguably say, you know, it's about a 5-way tie between 3rd down to 8th, right? They're all just within a couple of means points away from each other. It really is overall a super close competition, but one thing I wanted to also highlight was this trio right here. Visuals, Braids, and Diminished. My gosh, have they been playing some excellent Fortnite. Really just a sleeper team. And this is one that's been around the block for a long time, right? This is not a trio that's just new by any means, but they seem to have this season figured out.
Yeah, whether you're through the watch parties, Fortnite comp report, or Ozzy himself, this is always a team when I'm looking at their predictions. They're always in the conversation. Even when Visual and Braids were a duo landing at a split drop that they made themselves, they always command that respect. And with the early game that we saw, with a Minish going down, eliminated by Peterbot, we saw Visuals going down over towards Pharmacy Floodgates, forced to reboot. They were still able to pull off a 6th place with 6 eliminations, which gives them that 24-point lead over 4th place.
And last game, I mean, just play from a Minish. Incredible stuff to make that push and keep his tournament run alive, keep him in the game to even have a little piece of an end game there. It's definitely the difference maker. Ritual Cold and Peterbot, though, just kind of setting up here. You can see they've already done what they had to do over at the drop. Now they're looking to kind of disperse out. Meanwhile, Canada Bolts back on the hunt here, continuing to take these Eastern fights, and most importantly, take them with no fear of sitting in the zone for a while. I mean, look at the head count here. They found Yusuf and it boxed him up. Oh no. Got to be doing better than that. Yusuf somehow didn't even have his walls under control before this all kicked off, and then Bolt's getting right to it. Wonderful tags there. That's some big damage for them right now.
Yeah, even though they're able to get Eulogy back, they weren't really able to do anything with it. And I like the way Bolts played it. Even though they didn't need it, because as you said, he boxed him up. You saw how he went across the entire left side, let Sphinx and cut out a push directly towards his opponent. He was prepared just in case he was trying to disengage, run out. He would have ran into Bolts. But they were just too quick. Bolts didn't really get to do anything. Maybe the next fight, buddy, as he's looking towards the backside of zone, sees a full trio back there. And right now, it's essentially up to them how long they want to stay here at this spot on the map, how long they want to try to hold that team out, and how much surge they think is okay for them to rotate out.
Back on over to the Seaport City. Zone's still kind of hovering around this general area, so a lot of time bought here. But you notice the markers are out. They're going to be looking to focus on the Eastern teams. Teams like Canada, potentially, that are out there.
He just blocks it off. Nope. No free damage for you over there, but they're still able to sneak some through.
Moi, je crois pas. C'est qui le conducteur en face?
Trying to rotate in towards zones. Definitely hard to land shots, but if that 3rd player, your trio, is in the back and he falls out, you leave him behind. It's almost open season, so you got to be careful for that one as you're rotating through. As Muzz, Rise, Yapko. You can see they're already beginning that rotation out of shiny shafts. Slowly but surely, the zone is rather close. And you can kind of see where the zone is at this time around, just inside of Lone Wolf Slaver. Maybe a little bit of brutal boxcars on the side.
Nice calm here right now for the team. Rise positioned up at the Surge base right now, but zone's already starting to pop here. Looks like another Eastern draw so far.
Just look around, see how many teams are still going to be left behind. They have the time and the luxury to do it, but on the other side, they might not. Broken, Liam 20. No extra shields for Broken. He does have a med kit, so you see the possibility of how long this fight has actually been going on, but there is going to be one knock on the other side. 20 goes down, so still a 2v2 breaking out, but at least Broken was able to grab a lot of that extra loot. The Siphon mats could be the difference maker as the cleanup finally goes through onto Jojo. 2v2 breaking out, but a full third trio. A third party is now moving in to interrupt this fight.
So I was going to say, Aviv, Skittles, Chimp, sitting comfortably on the outskirts, watching it all go down, chipping away at damage here. They have the prime positioning, and notice what they're trying to do. Let this middle team kind of wrap things up and break it out, initiate it, so they can clean up the extra elims that start to scatter away. And one thing's for certain, they're picking up a lot of damage with the Oxy on the run now. In comes Skips and crew. Skittles Chimp already put him across down. Force the jug here alongside Liam. Very little time left, but Skittles is on the wall. Viv's on the other side here. It's just a matter of time before they likely pick up these elims right now. And I mean, if you're Liam and team, you're thinking about, you know, what went wrong this game, right? They had a couple great moments where they were kind of breaking out of the early game, but things just not really trending in their direction right now.
Yeah, they thought it, since the zone had pulled so far away, maybe they had an isolated fight, but Skittles, Chimp, and Viv, kind of part of their strategy, staggering themselves this far back in the zone. They get a lot of the extra loot. They do a little bit what some of these other teams do, whether they're fighting off spawn or just trying to take shots on any teams rotating late, trying to get out of the zone. This time around, it does work out for them. And one of the big reasons why they feel so comfortable staying so deep into zone on this side of the map is because there's geysers, launch pads, then obviously if they have the kneecappers, there's a lot of different mobility tools they can use to close the distance quick.
The highlight how things end up working there, and I was just looking at the standings. That's going to put them up in 13th place right now. A couple of eliminations away from 12th right now for Aviv, Skittles, and Chimp. We're keeping tabs on them, seeing if they can fight their way into a top 10 after this game's over. Cooper, Ree, and Curly continuing the action here at the Flooded Frogs. So far, so good for them as far as the overall damage. Zone's gonna land relatively close here.
In that last game for them, with a little bit of a different zone pull, not have magic mosses like yesterday, that was their worst game of the tournament so far. They were still able to get a 10th place with 3 eliminations, but we're kind of seeing them really be put to work here early on here in day 2 in the feed. I did see Sillet get it down onto Poyo. Agers does look like he's still alive though. They have a chance to heal up. They have Medmis smokes, water sprites, a bunch of different utility. And they have the luxury to go back in the zone over towards Mass Meadows to get the reboot back onto Poyo. So it should be not too much hard work for them to be alive as a trio once more. The biggest thing there I'm really watching out for is with Poyo going down, getting rebooted, how much surge did they actually lose off of that?
Yeah, it's the setback that really makes the difference. Take a look at it. It's against Xanda, Evan, and Sandalit. Oh, they get deleted from behind. It's the small things, right? The small regrets that end up sending you right back.
I feel like it's happening more and more where you think you have an isolated fight that deep in the zone, and then out of nowhere, a third team comes out of nowhere. Visuals, Braids, and Diminished. They were able to quickly move north from Foxy Floodgates. They're trying to get the Brutal Boxcars Mountain. And if the trend continues and we have some of the same zones game after game hovering over each other, we're going to see a lot of proactivity come out of some of these teams, this being one of them. Then now, depending on where there's... Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, this is where they positioned up last game, right? They seemed to be comfortable coming here, taking the fights on this mountain, but this time around, they wanted to get here early so they didn't have to really box out, you know, a team while getting third-partied. So they get the full wipe, and then look at that. They're fully based up now.
Read my mind right there. And this is, I feel like, one of the first times we're seeing Clix, Yamzo, and Higgs actually fight for this black market. They're realizing how close the tournament is, and they're pulling out every single strategy, going back to what they know has worked in some of those past Divisional Cup tournaments. 341 damage above the threshold. The zone is moving over towards this direction. So they may be learning, adapting here as the games go on.
Don't call it too early now. We might might jinx it. We
Ouais,
can
des
check
en
Moss's end
Wally
game.
de faire un ultimate eux.
Little update from Aegis
Attention pour le reste.
going on here. So Boyo picked up.
Je
Little
vois
damage
c'est
given that he's
quelque chose
playing the zone
d'assurant.
right now. Aegis is making super sure there's no one kind of lurking about right here, not trusting a bush, not trusting the
Quand on
build.
conteste la storm, c'est
Tower
compliqué.
is obviously still in the zone right now.
En plus, ça va rentrer dans coup de patte. C'est
It's
Flix.
like a stroll in the park on
Comme
one
je
side,
te
but
sens
on this one,
là,
the
pour
opposite just
acheter.
takes a big shot, maybe even kneecapper on top. Clicks as well, drop down to 105 HP and shield.
Là, ils
Forced
sont
to
en train de récupérer un
backtrack.
kill.
At least he reunites with Higgs, where he knows he has a little bit of extra help, so that way he can finally pop those heals. It's Yamzo the one that has a little bit of worry. I say that lightly though, because he already has elimination onto Tony. That's going to help with the siphon, the extra materials, as to continue to push forward.
Ça
Comes
je sais pas
second
c'est qui.
elimination there as well. So look at this.
pas si-
Last game they kicked it off with 4
Ça, c'est
elims in the
Batman
early
Vidéo ou
game.
quelqu'un d'autre.
This time they're finding some
Ça fait le monde
mid-game
que je
critical
connais,
fights
je
here,
connais même pas.
and then they get to secure the market and everything in between right now. This is actually
Batman
perfect. Now
Vidéo.
you look in the outskirts. There are other options as well, right? You have to think about how those teams are likely thinking that they need to get into a surge fight as well. But if you're Higgs, Yamzo, and Clicks, they got a brief glimpse of how well set up they are right now.
It's just unfortunate. Creon's by himself, and they have some extra HP down below, so they can literally outstay their welcome over there. Rise, Yapko, Muzz, still slow to rotate. Pulls further and further towards brutal boxcars. Again, that mountain range that some have invested into early on might have been the fruitful play that works out. But with 845 damage above the threshold, they really don't have to worry about anything other than making it to zone. And it sounds easier than it actually is, because you saw what Trio is waiting at the other side.
Somehow, some way, the
C'était pas
miracles
true, ouais.
are true. They weren't
Ça
spotted
c'est ils ont
out.
joué, ils ont.
They could see Ritual and Cold moving their heels out
Oui,
of
qui
the
vient de récupérer un
base.
kill.
And look
I
at
just
how
keep
quickly
fighting,
they
next,
ended up
for a
dodging
kill.
down. But hold up, Aegis, Acorn,
sur
and Boyo
qui?
not letting up the pressure here. They ended up tailing
Ah,
that
c'est
team
sur
that
du
just got
moyen.
the pick up right off the outskirts on the bridge. And it's
Il y avait un
G-Monster and
compétitif,
OC
putain. La
falling
mec,
down
elle
to
aurait
the
pu
hands
faire
of
mal, hein,
Aegis,
avec
Acorn, and Boyo. So
compétition.
big set of eliminations here. We talked about them being out of damage. They're only 181 above after picking up 2 eliminations, so it shows you they could have been 500 or 600 behind just moments ago.
Oh. You know where it's going, right, Monster? You know where we're headed, right?
Ceux qui sont passés devant Thermos à 2 points. 2 points d'avance. Nice Thermos le kill, le bon laser.
It's Jojo Fishy trying to pass Peterbot. He gets
Ils
taken
prenaient la
down
storm en surface,
one
mais
player to the next.
Bon,
Aoxy
pas
feels
devant.
that same pain, and they felt it twice in the same game, because remember, they were trying to disengage as a solo. At least he got the reboot attempt onto some of his teammates, but these are the things you really just have to watch out for.
De toute façon, c'est qu'ils prennent trop d'avance pour faire comme hier, c'était à bot, hein. Ils vont drop 2 dans leur spawn.
You guys see why Muzz and team were like, oh, wait a second, we're not gonna get by this base.
Donc, pour l'instant, on prend très en
What
dessous.
happens? They were looking
On
to
touché.
dive on to the next team they saw for sure.
Salut Delphine, comment tu
Takes
vas?
full
J'espère que
second
tu vas bien.
though, 113 damage below the threshold.
Allez, faut toucher.
This is obviously one of the worst positions you could be in
Un
here.
peu de flash, mettre un peu de flash. Mémé, nice.
And they have a decision to make. They're gonna go
Alors, faut y
live
aller.
splash down and
Centré
then
en dessous.
into the box here. So Aviv's
En
gets
bas, en
a chip
métal.
for an option. And then you have Cooper's team down low. Ooh, Rhea and Cooper curly.
Il est entré dedans, nice.
Be
Allez,
killed
une
there,
bonne balle.
Lucky Stars, because both
Dommage.
Sphinx and Kanata are on the way and they're hungry for an elimination here.
Pas, tu veux pas fight.
They need damage. Nothing just yet.
Skip qui tombe.
This is not good. Sphinx goes
Sphinx
down,
qui tombe.
eliminated. Active Storm
320 grâce,
going to
si
get
ces flancs
knocked.
sont morts.
And they're just falling further and further below, from a little bit over 100 to now 321 damage below the threshold.
Storm pour l'instant qui s'est
That's
arrêté.
close to 2 full eliminations
Prochaine
on the players.
351, ils sont
And
morts.
it's something that you got to be careful for, because they don't have any extra heals, no shields, no HP.
récupère
Lucky
deux
for
kills.
them, they're able to look to the backside of the zone
C'est
and trying to
la
land some
tombée.
shots, but it bites him in the end. Aviv, Skittles, Chimp, they might have forgot about him, but they didn't forget about you. They turn on to
309
Kanata, get that
incorporé.
elimination, and force bolts into a mad scramble.
100% de balle pour
Tough spot to
ball.
be in here now.
273
And
en
although he
plateforme.
has to play defensive, you kind of can't, right? Like you don't have the luxury, you don't have the time.
Plateforme, il le sait, on
There
va
it
faire
is, things are
un
active.
dedans, mais
Sees
non.
a base, goes into it, Amplify cleans him up. That's going to be the end. Team Kanata there. Cooper and Curly take full advantage of the fight that they hear break off next door. Meanwhile, Muzz, Rise, and Jabco, no troubles in the world right now as they go for an early rotate to try to get to this zone.
Faut pas la prédire dessus là.
I'm a little curious if this was the best way to go. There's a huge body of water. Team's already set up on this side. Just gonna have to watch it play out.
Just trying to heal up. I can sense them passing around that chug jug before this rotation just to top everybody off. Rise peeking through.
Nice speed.
And they got to be careful here because, like you said, they have to go
Ça
over
va
that
retard
open
pour
body
pouvoir
of
tuer
water.
sur le
Now,
retard.
one of the last teams to rotate on over. And if anybody is going to be below surge, they're definitely going to be looking back. And on the other side of that bridge, they're going to run into Clicks. They're going to run into Yamzo and Higgs. And they're just putting pressure on every team that has to rotate through that water.
Jacob, I was asking myself, what team could it, like, who pulled the zone right there? Like, who's set up already on the other side? Big body of water to protect them. It's Clicks, Yamzo, and Higgs with the prime positioning. Talk about key real estate right here. This is a perfect position to be in. Not only that, they have the natural elevation and the high ground up above them as well. This is where you want to be right now.
Cabot sont montés, je passe devant Fix à 2 ponts. Putain, on a arrêté sur Cold.
You can see Clicks just kind of staying on his toes right now. Replay coming in for Cold, Ritual, and Peter about those. They're finding eliminations right now. Mind, those are points, right? Starting to rack up there.
Jabco qui récupère un kill.
Trying to close that gap. 6 points. It's not much now, but you definitely cannot let Peterbot Cold Ritual continue to get more and more eliminations as each game passes. It's almost been the trend. 16 Major 1 champions. They've had a few struggles in this game, but they're always figuring out a way to make it work. The zone cuts back just a little bit in their favor, and that gives them the option to look across to 3 teams over there. That's going to be their target. I was literally just saying you cannot let them pick up these eliminations, and there goes Peterbot getting another knock onto Cynics.
The end game is just starting right now, and they're at 5 elims, so talk about really hitting up when it matters. Zone's gonna pull far east, though, giving up all that water. Straight into the landmass we go. See, most of the teams already have migrated here. 2 trios trailing behind for Peterbot, Ritual, and Cold. Trying to decide. It's gonna be the first move for them right now. Big lobby for the off the chip's gonna be down low.
I think they figure a lot of these teams are going to have to rotate in their direction, and that's going to be
Ça met beaucoup de dégâts sur le
the
truc
best
pour
chance
eux.
that they got to try to capture
La
some players
brigade
off
pile
guard.
sur
Some
Side.
damage able to sneak through, but not much. But this is the zone. Kelly really broke this down to start the day. They pulled it on the front side and immediately built up. Booga, Threats, and Rapid, and they were the ones who closed out game number 6 with a victory royale. And so it's going to be interesting to see if they can actually close this one off. They're looking across and seeing who is actually going to try to make the play to contest them. Where this next zone pulls Monster is going to be so pivotal on Threats, Rapid, and Booga's next moves.
You can tell by Booga's body language there. He is eyeing up Reed's base. They are a
Zéro
little
de
too
mat pour
close to
Adjers.
comfort the second
Il va
height.
tomber.
Wouldn't put it
Poyo,
past him to
10
dive in,
HP.
but look at this.
0 de mat.
They just can't
Ah, il
get
va
a
tomber aussi.
break.
Top 14, il va
Ager's
tomber.
Oh, Acorn and Poyo get eliminated in 14th before the real
Un
placement
très
points
gros
start to
diamant pour eux.
kick in and kind of add up, but it was a struggle of a game just to even get this far. Clicks, Yamzo, Higgs, though, they have not stopped playing the perfect frontside low ground all weekend long, and they just continue to do so. Another top 10 is just moments away.
You see the huge difference, though, in their inventory this time around. The Mythic Collateral AR, the extra splashes, they did make their way on over to that black market. Try to take use of their Lone Wolf POI. Peterbot looking to chop down high ground, but they got to be connected somewhere else. And that's the thing that they're going to look for it, but instead they run into Craze on the other side, but they're not backing down from any challenge, especially now since they know they're going to have to rotate. And you see them looking through the wall, eyeing that team before they rotate on out. Just trying to be very, very precise about the rotation, and they even change LAers during this next pull. And now they're looking up. Peterbot knows if they want high ground, now would be the time to try to take it.
Yeah, they wanted to chop it down, but it's connected to the steam stack there. He didn't see or notice the fact that it is just going to be there and set up, but
Clixiamzo Higgs under the Gold Rush splash effect here, continuing to rotate. It seems like they pull a little bit of a favorable zone on the low ground as well, so that's going to be perfect for them. Meanwhile, Booga Threats and Rapid managed to re-secure the base here, so all that material count doesn't go to waste, but Peterbot doesn't care. He's had enough of high ground shooting down.
Quelque chose sur le right, et ouais, ça va monter. Dommage à Black qui passera pas. Il se s'arrête pas là, il va remonter.
And then the full commit jumps to the front side of zone. Threats is there to back him up. Booga, Rapid, come on in. It's all out.
Qu'est-ce qui va tomber par Peterbot? C'est Peterbot qui doit avoir ce right.
This time he wants to win though.
Yeah, he took that high ground by force, and you saw when they all jumped over, Booga Threats Rapid. It's like they jumped in different directions. Threats was just left by himself in the lion's den, getting eaten every chance that he gets, and now the game has just changed. A huge threat is going to be on the high ground. Cold, Peterbot, and Ritual. They didn't get the win that they wanted in game number 1. They got the gap closed by Clixiamzo and Higgs, and now it's their time to reopen that spread.
What's most important is that they stay alive right now. Everyone has to stay on Ritual though. It takes a huge amount of damage right now. Someone ends up contesting them for high ground, and Ritual falls first. It's Cooper, and it's Reed who's here now.
Nice, encore un kill.
Serait show up too for a little bit of high ground. Everyone wants a piece
nice.
of Peterbot's
Once
again, he's here to fight back.
Taki thought it was safe.
Nice, encore un kill pour Peterbot.
By Pete, Cold goes down. Ritual as well.
Peterbot, bien joué.
Get a knock on the one, but he knows he can't clean it up just yet. Vert's still down below, but he's getting backed off. Backside of zone. Peterbot still has the siphon available when that elimination finally gets cleaned up. So he has all the time in the world here to look back at the Vert and figure out what he's going to do. And he has no chance to contest this high ground. Still a good amount of builds left for Peter as well as a solo.
The only team trio up is Clix's trio on the low ground. Look at how many eliminations they have managed to secure here. They are running away with things down. But Peterbot is still in this game, still looking to earn points, still looking to keep that gap from opening up any further. He's already at a total of 11
nice,
trio here.
Il aura pas les maths sur le 200, bien joué, il prend tous les kills 1v3. Ah, ça va être compliqué sur 1v3. Oh, le 170 sur King. Oh, le full box sur King. Oh là là. Est-ce qu'il va nous clocher encore ça, Peterbot? Nice. Ah, dommage. Il est trop fort ce joueur, oui. Qui est ce joueur? Il est instoppable, il est trop fort.
Were those eliminations that game from Ritual, Cold, and Peterbot enough to make that 11-point difference from the victory? Absolutely nothing. This is what we wanted. The entertainment. This is Cinema Monster.
It's crazy because it doesn't matter if you win the game if you're letting Peterbot's trio earn all of those extra points. He's just taking away the padding that you could have otherwise secured. You have to give so much credit to Clixiamzo and Higgs. Just a perfect, they are playing absolutely perfect front side low ground end games right now, and they're cleaning up house. Iamzo with the final shot there to win the victory royale. Clix, Higgs, and Iamzo do it once again for game number 8, Zeke.
Jacob PR, hold me. This is cinema. I cannot believe. Did any? Okay, Kelly, was there a moment?
Allez voir ce classement. Actualiser ça. Accumuler. Oh, ils ont 3 points d'avance sur X. Oui, mais une... 150 points, 140 points sur les troisièmes. Ouais, ils vont s'envoler, Code, Peterbot et Clix, ils vont s'envoler. Cooper top 4. Il y a une différence entre le top 7 et le top 11. 250 points d'avance, c'est une dinguerie. Adja 50 top 5, Bouga top 6, Mus top 7, Curve top 8, Canada Things top 10, Chimonet top 17, William top 25, Axoti top 26, 3 points. Après, il y a tellement d'avance entre le 7ème et le premier. J'ai quasi 300 points d'avance, c'est une dinguerie. J'avais les rattraper. Sachant qu'ils sont constants, il reste 4 games. Bah, ça va être chaud. Bon courage. 300 points d'avance quasi.
J'ai faim, bah, je prends son assiette et je lui bouffe la croûte.
Sacré Larzizada là.
Tu disais Larzis quoi?
Alana.
Alana, oui.
Bon, vas-y, on se pose aussi. Vidéo. Dans une 5 minutes, on ça reprenne.
Ouais, non, mais t'as raison, j'ai du mal à l'entendre. Non, mais du coup, voilà, dites-nous en commentaire, vous êtes team, vous mangez la croûte ou vous la mangez pas? Bah écoutez, marque de youtubeur suivant, on commence bien la vidéo. Le retour de la prime, les amis. En attendant que nos burgers sont en préparation, tout ça, pour faire dégouliner le suivi de la digestion d'un corps humain, je me suis dit une petite prime. En attendant la suite.
Et il faut savoir que Prime et nous, c'est une vraie histoire. Hein.
Ah, vraiment.
Prime nous suit sur tous les épisodes.
Ils sont tout le temps là avec nous.
Eux, ils ont souvent fini en inutile.
Bah, tout le temps fini en inutile presque.
Non, je crois
à part
que
la verte, ouais, la verte,
il y a
t'as
juste
raison.
la verte.
Qui est passée en passable.
Et maintenant, on en attend de celle-là.
Celle-là, moi, j'attends beaucoup. Hein.
Ouais.
J'espère qu'elle va relever vraiment le niveau.
On l'attend au tournant parce qu'on nous a dit, ouais, celle-là, c'est vraiment la meilleure. Elle est bonne, ça va, tu peux la boire en entier et tout. Oh putain.
Bon, déjà,
Mathieu, il me fait un peu peur.
Visuellement et odeur, ça tape du nez un peu.
Ah, tu sais, ça sent quoi?
Non.
Ça sent la tête brûlée à la pomme.
T'es pas gros mangeur de tête brûlée. Mais pommes, ok, je capte. Je goûte et tu goûtes. On
Vas-y.
fait la réaction en même temps. Je fais un no face. Bon, écoute. Je pense qu'on a la même réaction, on a la même idée en tête.
C'est parce qu'on nous a dit, ouais, elle est bonne.
Ouais.
Mais en vrai,
Bon, ok,
elle est meilleure
buvable.
que les autres.
Ça, c'est sûr, c'est ce que j'allais dire, elle est meilleure que les autres, mais au point d'en boire quotidiennement, je
Mais elle
le
me fait
fais
un
pas.
peu penser à la verte basique quand même. Hein.
Je pense même elle est un peu. En vrai, je trouve par rapport à
Ça
toutes les
va.
autres primes, c'est la meilleure.
Ouais,
hein.
ouais, bah ça par contre, c'est clairement la meilleure.
C'est
Après,
clairement la meilleure.
de là à dire que genre c'est vraiment bon, c'est buvable.
Vas-y, essaie d'enchaîner genre 2-3 gorgées. J'avoue, en vrai, c'est un peu écœurant. Genre, imagine, t'as vraiment soif, tu prends la bouteille pour boire et t'hydrater de gogo.
Ouais, non.
Chiant. Quand je mets un
En vrai,
5,5.
Ouais, ça va dans passable. Hein.
Ouais, je pense que ça va
Ça
dans
reste dans
passable.
passable.
Ça reste- en fait, Prime ne dépassera jamais le passable, hein, c'est tout le temps là-dedans. Ça n'ira jamais dans le bon. Par pitié, Logan Paul, s'il te plaît,
S'il
fais
te
quelque
plaît.
chose. Après, certes, de ce que je vois, il y a des bons composants, la boisson est peu calorique, tu vois, c'est cool. En termes de goût, c'est vraiment
Il y
pas
a
le
vraiment
Prime du
mieux,
coup.
hein.
Ah non, c'est sûr. Ouais, non, je pense que je mets un 5,5 sur 10 et ça va dans passable. hein. Ah là, j'en ai rebu encore dans ça. me
Ouais,
fait
mais
chier.
on a quand même beaucoup plus bu que les
On a
autres.
plus
hein.
bu, mais ça me fait chier là. Ça ira pas plus loin que passable. Bah, je te propose qu'après cette petite pause rafraîchissante, on
Qui
passe.
était pas si rafraîchissant.
Pas très finalement, mais c'est pas grave. On passe enfin à quelque
Ouais.
chose de plus
On va graille.
composant, plus gustatif. C'est parti, prochaine marque de youtubeur. Les amis, pour continuer cette vidéo, nous allons tester du coup le fameux Black and White de Ibra TV. Comme on vous l'a dit, bah, ça fait déjà plusieurs années que
Ouais.
ça existe. Et
2018,
pourtant,
j'avais raison.
T'avais raison. Et pourtant, j'ai jamais goûté et j'avoue que ça me hype un peu. hein. C'est un peu une envie d'enfance. Je vais pas
Ouais,
te mentir
ouais,
que...
moi aussi, genre un petit caprice de gosse.
Ouais, exactement. Quand j'étais petit, moi, ça me hypait de fou. Donc c'est parti. On va voir. À tout moment, ça brise mes pensées d'enfant et je
Non,
trouve
non,
ça.
non, non, faut pas se dire ça.
Alors, en termes de taille, je sais pas si c'est moi, mais j'ai l'impression qu'il est tout petit. Carré, la frite qui s'est retournée en masterclass. Les sauces, on a un petit message, on a des petites frites qui se battent en duel ici, on les ramène là. Ok, voyons voir ce que nous avons du coup là-dedans. Bon appétit, si tu as kiffé l'expérience, n'hésite pas à nous noter. Bah écoute, on te mettra une note du coup. Petite serviette brodée en masterclass.
C'est toujours pas brodé, c'est imprimé.
Imprimé, bah c'est pareil. Prêt à faire du sale, bah ouais, je suis exactement prêt, on va faire du sale.
On va bien manger.
Ah, on va bien manger, voilà, tiens, toi fais ton sale là et moi je fais mon sale là. En termes de sauce, nous avons deux petites sauces. J'ai pris une sauce ketchup et j'ai pris la sauce West Coast, là, du coup la sauce... Oh, on va te faire enculer, c'est vrai, elle aime pas les sauces qu'elle se fait enculer. C'est qu'en plus j'ai vu mayo et comme l'ancienne vidéo on a mangé de la mayo, je me dis ah non, absolument pas mayo, elle aime pas. Donc j'ai pris ketchup exprès et la West Coast parce que c'est la sauce du truc, mais comme tu casses les couilles et elle aime rien
Non,
cette
mais
fille,
je vais goûter la West Coast.
tu vas goûter la West Coast. Donc voilà, ça c'est la sauce typique du restaurant et ça c'est la sauce ketchup classique. Ok, bon petit custom, petit design, c'est cool. Le paquet, bon, il
a
déteint.
il a un peu subi au transport.
Il a subi au transport.
Ouais.
Et burger, par contre, j'ai vraiment
On
l'impression
l'ouvre.
qu'il est tout petit. Hein. Au toucher, là, comme ça, bah moi, il est où mon pain noir?
Il est
en
dessous,
bas,
je
ok.
pense.
Alors,
Regarde, on est en duo.
moi, je suis désolé, mais je le trouve un peu rikiki. Hein. Il est minuscule. Hein. Il est au régime, là, le burger, ou quoi?
Ouais, je pense qu'il a un peu régime. Ouais.
Fais péter le tien, comme
Mais
toi,
moi,
le tien, il a le pain noir. Je sais pas ce que vous en pensez, mais je le trouve vraiment petit, moi. Enfin, il tire un peu la gueule. Il doit être un peu malade, je sais pas. Comme on dit toujours, faut pas juger à l'apparence. Hein. Le plus important, c'est l'intérieur, écoutez. Non, écoutez, bon, la taille, on en parle, c'est quelque chose, mais l'important,
C'est pas la taille qui compte.
c'est comment on s'en sert. Allez, hein, on va manger.
Bon appétit.
On commence par les frites?
Ouais, vas-y.
Allez, c'est parti, goûtons.
Les frites,
Nature d'abord.
c'est des frites industrielles. Ça a pas l'air fait.
Ouais, je pense aussi.
C'est des frites industrielles.
On dirait les frites du McDo.
Si, c'est les frites du McDo réchauffées.
Ouais, c'est ça, ça.
Il y a même pas de sel.
Non, c'est vrai.
Ils ont même pas mis de sel dedans.
Là, comme ça, nature, je mettrais 6, 5,5, 6.
5,5. Elles sont vraiment pas. Déjà, au McDo, je prends pas de frites, je prends des potatoes.
Ouais, la même, moi aussi, je prends des potatoes. Et toutes les personnes qui prennent des frites et qui nous insultent, elles vous font enculer. C'est bon, évidemment, faut le dire, potatoes, c'est au-dessus des frites.
Ceux qui disent, ouais, les frites de McDo, c'est les meilleures.
Merci, ça moi la main. C'est carré. Donc ouais, vas-y, je suis d'accord, 5,5 sur 10, là pour le moment c'est pas ouf. On va tester avec la sauce si ça peut rajouter un petit bonus. Moi je sais que souvent les sauces ça me hype. Alors à chaque fois qu'il y a une sauce, la plupart du temps, c'est bon. Viens tremper ta frite dans ma sauce. Vas-y, mets-la moi. Vas-y, mets-la moi. T'es timide, t'es pas rentré au fond, t'as pas touché le fond là. Allez, santé. J'ai l'impression que c'est un copier-coller de la sauce de Burgooz. C'est exactement la même sauce que Burgooz. Bon, la sauce est banger. C'est exactement la même sauce que Burgooz. De toute façon, on va retester tout à l'heure Burgooz, mais j'ai vraiment l'impression...
2 minutes.
On va prendre la sauce Burgooz. Donc masterclass, moi j'aime bien cette sauce. Je la trouve très très bonne. Ça rajoute du bonus à la frite. La sauce, elle relève la note quand tu la manges. La frite, en vrai, je la passe de 5,5 à 6,5. Tu disais?
Tout pareil.
Toi, t'aimes vraiment pas les sauces? Là, elle te hype pas? Moi, je la trouve trop bonne la sauce. Tu veux goûter ketchup?
Non, merci.
Après, c'est du ketchup en soi. Je vais te dire si. Ouais, c'est du ketchup. Bon, ketchup, j'avoue, ça change pas de fou. Mais par contre, là, la sauce spéciale black and white, j'aime bien. Mais en vrai, vas-y, je suis d'accord avec toi. C'est des frites industrielles. Bon.
Elles sont pas
incroyables, mais la sauce relève bien la note quand même.
Après, Bélec, parce que vas-y, la dernière fois, on a taillé les frites de Valouz.
Oui, c'est vrai. Mais bon, en vrai, moi, je mets un 6,5 pour les frites grâce à la sauce. On passe au moment croustillant.
Ouais.
Burger, est-ce que le burger va faire
Bonjour, Julie, bonjour.
En vrai, il me hype un peu. J'ai vraiment faim, donc ça va être en masterclass. On commence?
Bon appétit.
Bon appétit, santé. On est partout encore?
Ouais, j'en ai partout.
Ouais, comme d'hab.
Je sais pas manger plus proprement.
Non, en vrai,
déjà, à l'école, dès qu'il s'habille en blanc, à midi, vous pouvez être sûr qu'il se fout un truc sur son t-shirt.
Ça, pour le moment, je suis... Bon, j'avoue, j'en ai un peu sur les cuisses déjà. Allez, mangeons. J'ai besoin d'un deuxième croc pour la barre. Eh ben, écoute, j'ai dit, il était petit, tout ça, il tirait la gueule. Gustativement parlant, j'aime bien.
Oui, ça va.
Il est bon, en vrai. C'est un smash.
Après, c'est assez classique. Il n'y a pas beaucoup de trucs à l'intérieur. Genre, il y a juste des oignons caramélisés. Il n'y a rien d'autre.
Après, le pain, moi, j'aime bien de baiser le pain. Le pain maïs, un petit peu, il est bon.
Ouais, ça va.
Moi, je le trouve vachement bon. Non, en vrai, le burger, je mets un 7,5, je pense.
Non, moi, je vais être juste un peu en dessous, un 7.
Un 7? Ok, bah, je le mets par contre dans le bon. On met dans le bon. Ouais. Ok, voilà la note qu'on t'admet. Sur 5 étoiles, moi, je mets un 3 étoiles. Il nous a demandé de.
Ouais, 3 étoiles.
Ouais, 3 étoiles sur 5.
Et tu peux aussi.
On va se faire reprendre.
They are still in our top 10. And Zeke, we have 4 more games to go. It already
compliqué,
feels like the end of the
les
tournament because so much has happened, but we're barely halfway through.
Even just look, Kelly, like, look at
250
those
points
numbers. How many
d'avance.
of those are zeros, as in those players haven't moved? And
C'est
how many
compliqué
of them
pour
are
que
going
remonte ça,
all the
c'est
way
sûr.
up or down? This competition is so close. Like, yeah, of course, obviously we're trying to tell this nice little story.
Je sais pas si
But
mec
Eclipse and Peter Bot over here
il y
just
a
like
combien, je
blowing
crois
stuff up. We're like,
700.
okay, I guess we have to look at that too. Like, the competition is close
Ça va
with
avancer,
4
faudra pas
more
attendre.
games left to go. Let's jump back on that battle bus. MDF, Jacob PR, take it away.
Europe.
Yeah, look, no doubt. I mean, we're going through a roller coaster of emotions. I feel like I've exhausted the pipes here. I mean, we still have 4 games in front of us, and it's looking like every game is a fight for the championship right now, Jacob.
Yeah, and it's looking like it could be some of the most important games of Fortnite you will play this year. 3 spots for the Global Championship, and it gets exponentially harder with only 2 spots in Major 3. So, honestly, it's now or never for some of these teams at the top of the leaderboard.
706, on est à 611 en 8 games. Sauf qu'il reste 4 games encore. Il y a au moins 800 quelque chose. Hein. Ah, ça commence à le but. Son record, c'est super beau, il n'a pas été battu. Hein. Putain, les 1000 points en FNCS.
The tournament will be 75% of the way over, and that's really where it's going to start to get interesting. 3 games left, not enough time to make up a point deficit, so I'm thinking there might be a potential. We saw Peterbot land on clicks. What about the other way around if the point lead over everybody else serves it?
Les mondes disponibles sont pas complets.
How Clicks
Les spoils sont contestés.
had the whole night to sleep on what all
Le spoil Kappa, il est contesté. Regarde, Zat, là, il a récupéré un kill, quoi, ça va. Donc alors, la preuve directement.
Where they say, you know what, before they can do us dirty,
we probably should
Yeah,
do
du
them
contest, nickel.
instead. So we'll just have to figure it out. And then I'm
55
also thinking
points en
about,
plus, hein.
is 600 points enough to make it to global
Il a récupéré un
championship?
héros.
Those are a lot of points. But then I start looking down at the standings. You know, it's only a game and a half difference. So this game 9, game 10 are absolutely critical to Clicks making it to the global championship spot. Well, in the end, it is absolutely incredible Fortnite at play here. High action, high caliber Fortnite underway, and it just doesn't get any better.
No, it does not. You're seeing why every team, including Craze, Donnie, Joji, Yusuf, Yuji, and Phenom on the Shining Span Bridge. Yesterday, most of the game, we saw him kind of going all out 50-50, drop on one of them floor loots and quickly go to work. This time around, both games, they're choosing to try to disengage, play it out. They might not get all the loot that they want off of their spawn, but at least they got a shot to try to get more points, move up the leaderboard, try to get in that top 25 where you can actually make some money.
I respect it. You know, like last game they did something similar, but you know, at the end of the day, they were in about 16th place. So when they survived the drop and they kind of play things out, they were just working their way up, chipping their way up. They jumped up to 14th now, so they're kind of in the running for getting closer and closer to the top 10, which I kind of have to appreciate. What do you think about Peterbot, Ritual, and Cold here, though, playing for the medallion, it seems like, here at the train?
Yeah, business as usual for them, but you see the two arrows off on the side, two different bases already built. The trio, Vigil, Breeze, and Diminish. This is how they get a lot of their early game surge, and obviously after Peterbot secures the loot that he wants, he quickly turns around, tries to accumulate a little bit of surge on his own, but because of how long it actually takes to get the boss down, to get the medallion, usually there's a lot of shots like that coming from the other side.
I was gonna say, it seems like they were getting a little too close for comfort there. I thought for a moment we're gonna see Visuals, Diminish, and Brace just dive in on the two, but it seems like they know better than to take that.
What's
happening here from coned up to fighting back? Jaxi finds himself fighting out of a absolutely unwinnable situation for most, but all of a sudden he's looking at 1v3 right now. Siphon kicks in there.
Ça c'est dingue. Il close ça. Oi. Comment ils s'en sortent? C'est un bot là, il est mort mais. Comment il s'en sort? Il fait full box 2 minutes, ça arrive pas à le tuer.
Jaxi unfortunately won't be able to celebrate much longer. Look, he's at 6 elims. 2 team wipes and then sent back to the lobby. My gosh.
C'est pas directement dommage.
That last elimination was pretty tough though. He slid. He was safe. So it was great for him to kind of pick that up. You said 6 eliminate. At least they got 24 points for this game. Could be the difference maker depending on where you're at on the leaderboard. And that's where Kaz is able to quickly break. And there's really no time for him to react. The full trio was already there. Jumping on top, closing off every possible escape scenario. As we jump aboard Click Yamzo Higgs. Hey, much closer this time around than we have seen in some of previous games past. Clicks is going to be the one leading the charge of trying to get that Storm Surge first. Yamato Higgs still looting up underneath the vault and all the surrounding land to try to get a lot of those extra heals up here in this base so that we can have a smooth game.
Ooh, they want to be absolutely sure to find Peterbot, Ritual, and Cold if they decide to try to sneak up on him. And this is why they're all kind of positioned up, like you mentioned, really closely to one another, but all with different angles, right? More teams lurking, kind of sliding up on them. You have to also take into account, like, those shots they just put onto Peterbot, you know they know. Right? Like, they're still at the Lone Wolf player. But what are they thinking?
Probably just being very, very precise. And you kind of mix in a little bit of that last game, so they're just trying to get and see where a lot of these players are rotating to, mainly on over towards the black market. As Yamzo taking that other angle, looking towards the south, spawning out one of those towers in the distance and immediately trying to go to work. And you're seeing in the minimap as well, marking a team up there in that last game as one of the first times we were able to see them access that black market underneath Magic Mosses. And it helped so much. You saw the collateral AR. They were able to get at least 4 different sets of splashes on top of it, something that weren't able to do at all in day 1 because of a lot of those north zones.
Ouh, du fight assez agressif.
For Ishutaki, though, a bit box fight right here. Taki's already taken out.
GV3 quand ils vont reculer. Ouais, il hésite à aider. Là, son mec qui va tomber.
Up on the mark. Came up a little short, but
S'il va réussir à décaler ou pas.
Respect nonetheless, and unfortunately, Ishu just forced to
Ouais, il
completely
faut
give
engager un
this
fight contre le team.
entire situation up right now.
C'est du 2v3 là. Et là, je recopie. Mauvais fait de mur.
Might be a 3v2 situation, so a blessing that they came in to crash this party, because now that Solo is going to be able to get out and get a chance for the reboot. But Veer being pushed back. A lot of these are his builds. That's why you see Creon playing careful, and you see that they're the ones that made that quick jump on over to Black Market this time around. Mythic Collateral AR just shredding through these builds. Big damage onto Veer. Another elimination cleaned up with ease, leaving Seek by himself in a 1v3 situation. And immediately they spot him out, get him to move. Those audio visuals being the difference maker as they get wiped out of this game.
That collateral AR so good when it comes down to keying in and keeping the pressure going like that. Peterbot, Cold, and Ritual though, getting right back into the fighting action here. And what's so interesting is that they're fighting the team that Clix's trio was just eyeing up for surge tags here. And it makes you wonder if they are hunting right now, kind of on the warpath of Peterbot's team, just trying to see if they can find them out, bait them in, wait for them at the edge of Storm, right? This is very intentional right now.
Yeah, especially since I mentioned them being able to access the black market outside of Clix and his trio. Zone is pulling towards the south, so this would be one of those scenarios with the storm surge they got early on in the game. They can backtrack. Peterbot in your path, a 3-point lead, and he is not straying away from these risky plays and these big moves of rotating towards the north and trying to cut off that whole team. But there is only one player, that last Solo, still in the minimap down below. You see him just above Lone Wolf Lair, just south of where Peterbot's initially at. And it does look like because of that third party, he is going to be able to stay alive.
Shadow,
yeah, this is some significant, you know, tactics at play right now. Like, you're watching them almost literally trying to position themselves to get into a fight with Peterbot come the mid game. We'll be keeping eyes on it. How Clix and Peterbot, the gap continues, but for Phenom, Eulogy, and Yusuf, by breaking out kind of inside the storm right now against Shadow, Tyler, and Curve. You know, up until now, we've seen also Kanata's team here, but not quite just yet. And as we just mentioned, we knew they were trying to get in to Clix's trio. Who would have thought they'd
Splash, il va monter encore. Et c'est qui son passant? Peterbot qui prend beaucoup de dégâts.
Is here to fight.
Nous qui prend les dégâts aussi.
Choke now though. This is for the championship essentially right here.
Yeah, this would give either one of these teams, assuming they finish at least in the top 3, a big lead going into the last 3 games of the day. Peterbot, Cold, Ritual choosing to disengage zone, pulling all the way towards the south. They say, hey, we're just going to go ahead and go back on over towards our black market, our crime city for now. We'll meet you later inside of the zone, because now both of these teams know which outfit their opponents are wearing. But Clix getting some good damage on somebody trying to move through that porta potty, forcing the remaining 2 players to just wait and expend a lot of their materials.
I was going to say it's so important that they pressure right now to really make sure they set back Peterbot's trio as much as possible. But you got to give them a lot of credit defending off Peterbot's team, coming in fully healthy, mind you, with all the resources, right? Peterbot's trying to pull the same type of tactic they did yesterday. Just put Clix off of the ball game, right? Push them off their surge strats, reset them, make them kind of fall in the mid game when surge gets active. But this time they were prepared, and it seems like, I don't know, man, maybe they pulled the trick out a little too soon yesterday.
I almost feel like, and you're an OG, you've been around much longer than I have. Is this one of the first times we're seeing a team really just take control as much as Peterbot is going for these early game fights? I mean, rightfully so, Peterbot does want to win. They have such a huge lead over 3rd, 4th, 5th, everybody else down below that leaderboard. So maybe he already has his global championship spot, almost guaranteed top 2. It's worth the risk for them, especially since this one is personal almost between Peterbot and Clix. And this is bragging rights. This is more than just that.
Yeah, Jacob, look, you know, I've casted 25 FNCS finals. There has never been a team to do what you're watching right now in an active online tournament, like in this way, right? Really trying to make sure that they position themselves to be the front runners, and then finding someone so close to deviating the strategy to say, you know what, we have to adjust. Like, this is what
we've always wanted to see from high-level Fortnite, and it's great to see Peterbot and his trio kind of take the lead there, right? So all credits to Ritual and Cold, because there aren't many teams that would do this. And of course, the GOATs, Vino and Queezer, were the ones that kind of kicked this off, right? Showing that this is possible. You can make these type of iconic plays. You can almost cement yourself in Fortnite history as legends if you do this type of stuff. And I think they're leading by example right now. So this is the first time we've seen it here on NA, and I think online in general in this type of way.
It's just an incredible, all these years later, records still being broken, history still being made, and entertainment at its finest. We're the true victors out of all of this that is going down around the lobby as Higgs in defeat does get elimination onto the tick. You see Rapid Threats and Booga, a little bit of a slower pace for them this time around. Just outside of that qualification spots, but the points are so close. All it takes is one good game to change the course of your own history. This time around, everybody having to rotate in from the north. Foxy Floodgate is going to be the most north POI as of now. As we check out how Higgs was actually able to pick up that elimination, just sneaking up on a couple of players. And as I said, zone moving towards the south, which gives a lot of freedom to Clicks, Higgs, and Yamto to move back on over to that black market and seeing if there's anything left from Creon, Tony, and Noisy.
I was going to say, you know, you got to think about how, you know, because Ritual and Cold were there, they kind of cut off the black market for a little bit.
Yep.
Likely looking at Clix's performance and saying, hey, you know, what's changed from the days before, right? It's the fact that they have had access to this black market. We talked about how significant that is. But look, there's other teams kind of here still waiting about, so they're not out of the woods just yet.
Oh man, they're getting confident up above. They're knocking on some doors, trying to take some cones, eliminate some options just in case this fight does progress longer than they'd expect. But great shots coming out of Yamzo yet again, opening up the fight, slowing down at least one of those players. But Vert landing some good damage onto Clicks. Both teams trying to tunnel around, build some extra space. That way they can try to make that move, but it's the low ground right now that is on a little bit of a disadvantage, so they need to figure out a way to make a play as Clicks just gets hounded yet again. Drop down to about 75 HP, looking for a way to survive.
Forced to pop a second med miss here now, so this is really starting to come down to the wire as far as the zone pressure is concerned. It's going to come down to Higgs and Yamto. We've seen a lot of clutch plays from them throughout the weekend. Really have never seen a better Clicks and Yamto. They seem to be in peak form. Clicks here, still on the back foot right now. 51 damage put off right there. He's going to win that trade. And it was there, but unfortunately the tag couldn't follow up in time. And this low ground, I was going to say, really difficult to play off of. It seems like the zone gets the knock for Yamzo, and that's going to be the go sign for them. And here they come with the kneecappers around top. You never know. The pre-fire shot onto Clicks takes him down. Higgs loses the shield here. It's going to be up to Vert to come through, and Vert actually finishes off Clicks. Think about what this is going to do for the damage as well. This is an extremely big elimination right now. And a time waste. And Maniac was just here. This reboot might not even be up. Oh, it is.
This is just crazy because you said it yourself. What does that do to the damage? Remember, early on, it was Clicks the one on top of Lone Wolf Lair in their base, getting a lot of that damage while his teammates were the ones looting up, getting the gold. We'll see how it turns out for him, but Cold is down as well. Monster. 6 games today, and already it's been toe-to-toe, back and forth between the top two trios, and again, we're in a dire situation. Even though they are going to get that revive off and the elimination cleaned up for the Siphon, it still puts them in a spot to where now they have to follow backs into zone, and they're so far back.
Can I just say how smart that was? They left it down body until they picked up Cole, so the Siphon kicks back in for Cole. Like, the little things that happen at extreme high level Fortnite is what makes me love this game so much at a competitive level. And look, they are back like they never left. They are just not looking to make any mistakes. This is incredible stuff.
Those little differences really mean much, because now they don't have to use a med mist, they don't have to use a med kit, no bandages, no worries there, at least not for now. And again, I always say this, they're looting their POI yet again. They don't even necessarily drop there and loot the whole thing. That's from time to time. You see extra teams come in, try to grab the scraps as he dips his toes into the water. The gold splash water that runs through Crime City. Get the extra speed boost, faster farming speed, and that's where he's going to be maxed up on materials in no time. And not too far away from where the zone is pulling now. And this is where you're seeing a lot of teams utilize that gold splash water, just dipping their feet in. They get the speed boost. They get this pickaxe speed boost. And then if they do have that kneecapper, then they're definitely going to close the distance of these.
I mean, at this point, I'm more concerned if like storm sickness is going to kick in. Like they're playing deep in the storm right now. We still got a lot of, Fortnite to go. The North is still kind of playing the zone right now, so very favorable. So more rotate for them. Might force them to tank a little bit more than usual. I'm just trying to keep all the options, open at the moment, but Shadow, Tyler, and Curve right now on the move here, playing this kind of high ground, trying to see if they can have a position here, but Noah's already set up. Visuals and Minish are there. Take a look at the highlight from Aegis, Acorn, and Boyo on the eastern side of the map. This is what happened last game that set them back. This time, they don't lose Boyo, so they're going to be able to maintain their damage, kind of carry this momentum into this end game right now. Another mountain in play here as well, so seems to be a repeating pattern.
Yeah, almost everybody on this edge crossing their fingers right now, saying, please come to us on the eastern side. Don't pull up that mountain. Don't give us a max pull. Well, guess what? Fortnite doesn't really care how your fingers are crossed or what you're wanting. We're just going to give a max pull anyway. Aegis, Poyo, and Acorn. This is something they've been feeling almost all weekend long. And the difference is exactly what you said. They were able to pick up those eliminations. They didn't go down, not rebooted. So this time around, with a similar rotation as last game, I expect it to be very, very much higher when it comes to that storm surge.
Sitting in the storm right now, tanking for position here. Could be setting themselves up for another victory royale here. We've seen when they kind of get these types of zones and they get this high ground positioning early, they've turned them into top threes, second places, and victory royales. Do keep in mind, this is a 2-tick zone right now, so again, a lot of tanking right now. Ritual, Pewterbot, and Cole still tanking as well. If they just look over that way, they might actually be able to take them out the sky for a moment there. Seems like a fight's breaking out.
And as of this game starting, they're only 69 points away from that top 4, which would be a qualifier spot because of Ritual, Cold, and Pewterbot in first place. So they know these last 4 games are going to be some of the most important Fortnite they're going to play, especially during this major. Pewterbot, Cold, Ritual, they're able to get that mountaintop just south of their actual POI. They're 1,100 damage above the surge, and they're looking toward the back. That player is in zone. They get the knock, the tick, and that was a player that already got rebooted in this game. Down again he goes.
I was gonna say, we saw him hiding before by himself. Seems like he just couldn't catch a break. Those are some important points right there. And look at that, he's just gonna go for the material. So Pewterbot opting to jump down. Big upgrades here as well, potentially. All in all, pretty great elimination for him.
Yeah, and they knew it was relatively safe because they traveled from that side of the zone where, no, it was closed. Nobody was really there without sacrificing damage. One other team might have been Mudds, Rise, and Yapko on the other side, but a little bit of a far pull for them. But since they're so high up, they could look down at teams like Booga, Rapid, and Threats, figure out where they're rotating, and either mirror that rotation or just simply use their builds against them. But they are going to beat off Booga, Rapid, and Threats. Yep, they're cutting them off down the side of that mountain. So not only they're going to get position inside of the zone, they're going to get priority over every other team.
Yeah, one thing we're noticing, it's almost like Pewterbot, Cold, and Ritual now are playing as if every team they're encountering is Callisto's trio. They're trying to put themselves in position to directly gatekeep out all the northern teams. They are looking for the fight right now.
I want to say same thing could be said for Kanata, Bolts, and Sphinx, but they're fighting all weekend long. The most distance traveled in the tournament, and they're 137 above the threshold. One of these zones coming towards the south. They got a little bit of priority position. They got to be careful from the left side where they're kind of blocked off. But other than that, they're able to kind of take advantage. A lot of these teams stuck below inside Canyons Crossing. There's a huge elevation differential, and they have to climb that mountain in order to get in the safe zone.
Let's take a look at 98 above here from both Sphinx and Kanata, so not out of the woods just yet. They need to stay active right here, find one of these teams and just kind of break open the fight.
Looking at things from the wide shot, Clixiamzo and Higgs find themselves below this surge. That's that damage that we talked about being kind of the setback for them here and now. I mean, not the worst team as far as being underneath, but they're right on the line there. Great tags for Clix to start making up for lost damage here. And it's come out, put him right inside the zone. Medmiss already being utilized here. From Higgs' side, they're also getting active there. Seems like Rapid's team's the one under fire. Now pressure coming in. Ooh, a far zone pull for everyone on the lobby. Very few teams are going to be able to find themselves safely on the right side of the fence here.
You see a good chunk of the lobby in the minimap trying to make this rotation early. They don't want to get caught behind. It's going over into that kind of divot between Canyons Crossing and the Shogun's arena. So yes, getting down might be easy, but where this zone pulls up any one of these mountainsides, you have to start preparing a few zones ahead. Maybe conserve as many materials for final elimination here, like Poyo Angels and Acorn trying to do. 20 is going to be in their line of sight. Active surge on him as well, and it does look like he might be going down here in a moment. Can they take advantage of that? Either way, they don't want to because they know they don't want to get caught in the backside of the zone. And you see him even charged up the Haymaker, but on the other side, Higgs goes down, Clix and shambles. Iamzo no shields. Even with 6 eliminations, this puts him in a dire spot.
Yeah, that looked like Booga doing an armored vehicle. Like, I'm not sure what just happened, but Higgs gets sent flying. And I was just going to say, this is one of the few times where being late on the rotate here will actually put you in the better position because it's coming off the top of the mountain. So Clixiamzo and Higgs, although they're man down, they are in a much better position here overall. However, they've lost so much material now. And look at the wide shot right here. Jabco, Muzz, and Rise opting to continue to play for ultimate height. You can see this Clix's team kind of at the low ground. Purebot right in the middle of the pack here, trying to potentially opt in to fight for height here shortly. It's gonna be a Western pool, Jacob.
Yeah, this is going to be tough too. Even though most of it is on even ground at the bottom, it does slightly move up the side of that mountain. So you really got to be careful. For Yapko, Rise, and Muzz, looking down, putting pressure will be the key here. Because even though that might not be the team they're looking at now, but Peterbot Gold and Ritual are going to be just underneath them. Instead of prioritizing a little bit of elevation, Peterbot is just trying to get ahead of this. Try to look at it later, something that we see them do time and time again. Exactly that. They have to careful down below, pressure coming in from all angles. He slides to a safe spot down below. I would be a liar right now, Monster, if I said that didn't make me nervous.
I thought it was over, but he was way faster than I was on the reaction speeds there to go ahead and save himself and break the fall. Smart play to give up the height there. You saw how dangerous it was getting, but he's not looking good right now for Clix. And Iamzo, Clix taken out here. Iamzo left to solo flush this one out. Placement points are just starting to add up as well. We're in top 11 territory here. But there is so much action unfolding. Look at this. Peterbot finds another set of eliminations. And there are 24 players remaining in the game.
That was a full trio. They just wiped off the side of this mountain, and the zone's going to continue to pull further and further over. And they're going to go ahead and sacrifice the HP, trying to make a smooth rotation upward. Muzz, Rise, Yapko still up above. They need to figure out a way to target down below. Down is going to be Iamzo still by himself. He's sitting down, no materials. He's trying to farm what little that he can, but there's still so many dangerous players in front of him, including the full trio towards the right. And he's going to take down Iamzo, Clix, and Higgs.
So he falls inside a top 10. This is really going to start opening up the placement points here for Peterbot. They already have the elimination lead, and this is where the gap will start to grow here. But first, they have to pop out. Peterbot gets crunched down to just 14 HP, and then taken out as well. Cold here does his best, but he gets sent back to the lobby. So scratch those placement points out of the way. The race continues to remain extremely close. Muzz eyeing up all that loot from Peterbot down low, but there's no room to jump down. Muzz, Jabco, and Rise looking to be one of the few teams to pick up multiple victory royales here on the day. What an angle from Muzz. And there's the refresh he was looking for. Really taking this game into his own accord here.
They've come close so many times this week, and this is the one they don't want to let slip through. But down below, another team they got to watch out for. Early, and they are just dominating everyone in their path. The full trio gets taken down, and now it's 2 trios and a solo that isn't going to last long because Kanata goes down. 3v3 situation. Muzz, Rise, Yapko up above. They have the elevation and the advantage, but everyone gets chopped down. Again, a Haymaker He is winding up right now with the kneecapper. He's trying to charge it up, waiting for
Charge
somebody to
la
peek out
batte.
of that box and make a
Voilà,
mistake.
ici pour recharger la batte. Recharge la batte. Coup de batte. Coup de batte. Coup de batte. Il est coupé un HP. 9 kilos. Nice, tranquille. Il a tombé dommage. Curly qui est bien. Le travail. J'ai vu le code de partout. Et nice. Curly qui prend le petit kill.
For himself here on the finals day. If we were in person, Monster, I know Curly Bobby be pointing over in that direction and said, you guys could have had me. You guys could have had me on your team winning this game, but you chose to go with somebody else. And now it's a decision that'll go down as one they will regret. And that is a big win for Curly, Cooper, and Reed, because remember, at one point or another, they were tied in that third, fourth place position. Well, there's not going to be a tie anymore.
It was so crazy. You know,
Dommage
to
cette
come
ancienne
down
fois.
to the wire, you would have thought
Il y a au moins
Jack
7
Rise
minutes
was
d'attente.
going to get that second victory out. But unfortunately, Reed, Cooper, and Curly heat up and cement themselves in the conversation here. They're like, wait a second, guys. We want that third place spot. We want to try to fight for first. And it was so intense here. What a way for this to go down. Look at that. Turn this thing around here. Curly hitting the shot, and then Rise, unfortunately, couldn't find his tags there. There it is, the big victory royale here for game number 9 for Reed, Coop, and Curly there, Zeke.
Les classements. Events. Innate. Cumulé. 682. 30 points d'avance sur Kix. Éclaire-toi pas qui remonte, hein. C'est de recreuser les cas. Ils sont un peu moins de 100 points. 90 points. Le top 4. Alger 50 top 6. Bouga top 7. Shadow top 8. Canada top 9. DK top 11. Mode top 12. Avis top 14. Shimoni top 15. Yusuf top 17. Bug top 18. Diam top 22. Aux top 23. Mafia top 26. Donc l'année dernière ils sont à 16 points. Vas-y les gars, moi je vais cut pour aujourd'hui. Ah, je vais pas faire le cardio jusqu'à la fin, j'ai cours demain. J'aurais bien voulu savoir. Bah, moi je pense que c'est Peterbot, hein. Ils vont win. Hein. Deuxième kicks. Et après, bah, après ça peut jouer après. Hein. Là c'est les gars. Passez bonne soirée les gars. Pour la rediff, on peut mettre du côté créateur 1292, voilà. Juste là, 12. Ciao et passez bonne soirée les gars. Demain est bon.